All right. There you go over here. So yeah, we have a quick slideshow for you guys. We'll just kind of run through what we're doing this summer and just give you guys a breakdown of kind of like why we're going, what this Kaleo thing is on the screen, and then like what we're hoping to get out of it. So I guess first off, this Kaleo project is through a student ministry at K-State called Student Mobilization. And basically, it's just a ministry that's up there. Helps college students just grow in their faith. They have different opportunities. They have weekly meetings. They're like 300 or 400 students go to, hear from a speaker that's kind of given a talk to college kids. And then they really just focus on like aspects of like the wheel, which is an illustration, just word, prayer, fellowship, and witnessing. So that's like kind of their main core thing. But one of the opportunities they offer this ministry is what Brynn and I are going to this summer. Just Kaleo. It's a summer faith project. And it's in Gulf Shores, Alabama. So like when I first heard that last year, I was like, oh, like this is like a vacation or like a summer camp or like on the beach, like all this fun stuff. But it really is a grind. You work 40-hour work weeks, so really trying to prepare you for like that post-college stuff and really having or making time to invest in your faith outside of that 40-hour work week. And so then, preparing and leading Bible studies. So this is my second year, so I'll be doing that, leading a group of guys. And then we also just hear from like speakers and have trainings on different content. They have like a relationships conference, a discipleship making conference, and we'll kind of like break some of that actual content down a little bit more. This is basically, I'll go through the structure of Kaleo. So 9 weeks. You're in this huge condo in Foley, Alabama, so about like 20 minutes from Gulf Shores. And basically this lady's name is Mihan Ellis, and she runs this huge condo. She came from India like 20, 30 years ago. And she is really into her faith as well, has a relationship with Jesus Christ, and she just really cares for this project. And I think someone reached out to her like 10 years ago, because we have about like 250 total students that go down there, both from K-State, KU, Mizzou, Nebraska, Washburn, Northwest Missouri State, and then there's like a couple random ones like Georgia, Penn State, that kind of go down there and meet us. We're at this huge condo. This lady lets us stay there. Obviously, we have to pay for it, but it's kind of cool. We just get to take over the condo for those 9 weeks. And basically, these 5 guys, so second to the right there, and then everyone to the left is what they call, there's 4 guys called a discipleship group. So there's 4 guys, and one of those guys is a discipleship leader, and then 3 first-time people. So basically the role of the discipleship leader is just to help those other 3 people really get established in their faith, just build conviction on God's word, and really just serve them for the summer. My discipleship leader, he's second guy on the left, the tall guy. His name's Grant. I love that guy. We had a lot of good memories. He prepped our Bible studies for us and just really lived out how to be a servant leader and really just have a biblical model of just like washing our feet in that sort of analogy. But like I said, busy schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday work, and then Saturday and Sunday church, and then Saturday we have what's called a leadership training, which I'll kind of get into, but pretty packed schedule. So Monday nights we'll have a speaker, and it'll be a training just on how to like get into God's word and apply it to your life. And so like I said, there's 200-300 students there, speaker, and it's really focused towards like college students. I feel like at just different camps I've been in the past, when I was younger, even different things, just hard because there's a wide variety of ages. Like even like at church, it's just hard to obviously meet everyone where they're at. But I feel like Kaleo is really cool just because it's predicated towards like the college student and how to build them in their faith. So that's what we do on Monday nights after work. And then on Tuesday nights, we have what's called our like D group or discipleship group night. So this is when our D group leader, so Grant, he would like plan our study. We'd go to different places. This is just in our room, but sometimes we go to like different places on the beach, like have our study. And really, this last summer we went through 2 Corinthians. So we'd get in the Word every day, and then every Tuesday night we'd meet up, talk about like what we learned, how can we apply that, both this summer and then also back on campus as well. So that was pretty cool. And then here are the Saturdays. So this is like by far like the scariest part of Kaleo. So basically Saturday mornings we'll go to this church about this size probably, and we'll hear from dudes on just how to like share their faith, because obviously like God doesn't want us to have a privatized faith like just to ourselves, but really go out in the lost and just share the gospel. And I was thinking like Luke 19:10, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. So just really having that model, I feel like the thing that student mobilization and our ministry does really well is preparing kids to like really share their faith and be vocal about it. And so I feel like that's something I really learned this last summer, just man, like how am I gonna like share my faith with like some of my buddies and stuff like that? Because I feel like that's like a daunting task. It's kind of scary. But we do that on Saturdays, just learn like practicals. And then actually Saturday afternoon, we'll go to the beach and we'll just like walk up to random people and we'll like show them different versions of the gospel and just talk that through with them. So it's kind of good to like get that off your plate, and I'm sure Brynn's kind of scared for that. But it's no, it's good experience just because you can kind of get a lot of those fears out in the summer with just random people before you can go back and really try to just make an impact in your sphere. So this is the first time I shared this last summer. This is a guy named Heath. He's about 40 or so. He's on staff with student mobilization at K-State. And I mean, he's just a great guy. And that's my buddy Zach in the middle there. And Zach and I have gotten really close. He's at a fraternity at K-State as well. And just over the last summer, just seeing our fellowship grow and even that lead into the school year. But yeah, that was the first time I ever got to share on the beach. And really learned a lot about how like, man, it's really not me giving this message, but it really is just God working through us as vessels. And just feel like even every time, I think Heath told Zach and I, but even every time you share, it's always a win. You're either being obedient to God. If people reject you, you're still being obedient to God. You plant a seed for further down the road, or they do make a decision to follow God. So I feel like just looking at that from that mentality, there's nothing really to lose, which I kind of learned in, I feel like even being able to apply that back on campus. I've been taking guys on like lunches this year and just sharing with them the gospel, and like this illustration that I showed my sister, and it basically is just Romans 6:23, and there's a bridge, and it kind of shows where you're at with God. And I feel like that was one thing I really learned from Kaleo, and then I've been able to apply it back in my fraternity with some guys. I lead like a small like Bible study with like 6 or 7 dudes. 3 of them who've came to Christ like this last 6 or 8 months. So just trying to process them and get them established and kind of showing them, man, what does it look like to have a quiet time, get in the Word, apply that to your life, and really like, man, what does it look like to talk to God, to pray, to have accountability, even to share their faith. I mean, these guys are relatively new, I feel like, but even to see their heart and their burdened hearts for some of their lost buddies, like, man, it's just cool to see God work in that aspect. So that's one of the studies. And then here's another I've been having with some new guys in our fraternity, and I think these guys aren't following God yet. I think one of them is, but it's just cool to see, like, we call these IBDs, so investigative Bible studies. So these aren't for people following God yet, but they're just what they sound like, just for people who want to investigate, like, what does a relationship following God look like? And I feel like these are good because we get to walk through, like, okay, what does the world say about God versus what does God actually say? Because I feel like a lot of the time people just hear the world's point of view and not necessarily look to the Bible for what God says He is and what He brings and what a life following Him actually is like. I feel like that just common misconceptions and hang-ups. We get to walk through that with dudes, which is really cool. And I feel like I just learned that from Kaleo last summer. Man, how can I process the gospel with guys? And just a tool that obviously you want to have for a lifetime. So I guess I'll let Brynn speak a little now. We'll kind of just talk about why we're going, why she's going for a first-timer, and then kind of why I'm going back and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so kind of why I'm going. I've really seen how it's impacted my brother. Since he came home this last summer, I've really seen like how his perspective of everything has changed. And I really feel his whole life changed, basically. I want to get the opportunity as well. And then also other girls in my house that I look up to. There's 2 specific girls who went to Clay this last summer, and I've gotten really close with them throughout this school year, and they're also going this summer, so I'm really excited for that. I also want to invest and grow in various aspects, so like becoming established in my faith, and growing deeper in my faith, developing a vision, so like becoming the Macy, so like the 2 girls that I look up to are Macy and Gabby, and they kind of have been discipling me throughout this past year, and so I kind of want to become people like that, so I can disciple younger people within the next few years, and then also building conviction on how I want to live, and then being obedient to God and what He wants for my life, and then shaping and developing character, and also fellowship down there. You're living and you're working with and then following God with all these people, and just having that fellowship down there where you're all running the same race, and just having the time of your life in Gulf Shores really is going to be awesome. And then the real world experience, so like Bryar said, we're going to be working a full-time job down there, and you're going to have to know how to share the gospel in that kind of environment in our future. So I'm really excited for that too.
Yep. I'd say, I don't know if I have any points. I'll just ramble, I guess. I'd say like why I'm going, kind of like what Brynn said, like accountability I've experienced this last year. Like even going down to Kaleo, meeting like my roommates, like 5 or 6 other guys that now on campus I've been able to really press into. And we're all in different spots at K-State, so it's not like we're all living together. So it's like, man, like how can I go to those guys for accountability as a breath of fresh air and really press into them and not be conformed to kind of the sphere I'm in. I feel like also, kind of like what I was saying with the guys, but God's really been working in Phi Del, the fraternity I'm in, and just been able to see Him work through the lives of different guys and just see them, man, come to a decision of making Him Lord and Savior. And I feel like I just really want to improve on disciple making. And like I said, this summer, I'll be the discipleship group leader. It's like what Grant was for me last summer. So man, just learning how to serve, how to lead studies, how to demonstrate my life and like kind of the gospel through actions. And just really learning how to process and take guys through different points in their faith and get them established. Because ultimately, I feel like if you look at the biblical model of discipleship, whether it's with Jesus and the 12 disciples, or like Paul and Timothy, you really see, man, they're living this life on life with guys. They're not just, I feel like there's a saying, like more is caught than taught. They're not just teaching, but they're really living side by side. And I feel like I'm really going back this summer to really live that close, intimate life with these guys so they can see, man, what does Bryar do in the morning? What does he do at night? Like getting time with God and what that kind of looks like. So I feel like that's kind of what I'm looking forward to get out of it. Also just like putting God first. And I feel like I really have a long ways to grow in a lot of just different areas of my life and just really want to, just kind of have that another summer of growth and hoping that we can really develop from that. And then, Brynn, if you want to talk about what these are.
So these are a couple pictures. This one on the left is a picture of me, girls in my sorority at what we call late night down at K-State. And it's just awesome to see. There's 4 people in that picture, including me, who are going down to Kaleo this summer. And a couple of them are older, but we just really look up to them. It's awesome to see how God is working within Tridel and just kind of like how it just multiplies. And this one on the left is with me and Macy and Gabby. We go to Starbucks, which is a lot of money, but we go there every single week, and we just kind of meet up. We'll do our quiet time together, and just kind of update each other how God's been working in our lives, what we can pray for each other about. And it's just really awesome to get to meet with them and go through a study.
Yep. Kind of what we're asking for, I guess. First and foremost, like prayer, obviously, the main thing. I just threw up a couple verses. I feel like the first thing is that Brynn and I would be established and rooted up in our faith. Romans 12:2, just that we wouldn't be conformed. Like I said earlier, I feel like just kind of being, obviously in college, like there's a lot of different input coming from all over, and that we really would be transformed by the renewal of our minds. so that we can just test God's will and what he says is like good and acceptable, and not necessarily looking towards the culture. And then, yeah, kind of like I said with serving, Mark 10:45, just that, especially for myself this year, just having 3 younger guys, that I would really have a servant heart towards them. Even I feel like getting little sleep or sometimes maybe not getting my preferences or my way, just really, man, going out of my way to, like I said, just like wash these guys' feet and be there for them, and just do anything I can to really help these guys grow in their walk with God. And then, yeah, Hebrews 11:6, that Brynn and I would just like take steps of faith, and just like, I feel like faith is stepping into something that you aren't sure of or don't know, but really trusting that, like, man, God's there on the backside to do. And then, yeah, that last verse in Matthew 9, there's a couple verses that laborers really would be raised up. I think Jesus says, like in Matthew 9, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers or the workers are few. So that, man, like there are a lot of people that just don't have that relationship with God, which is sad. So it's like, man, that's the job of the church to really get out there into the harvest and share the gospel. And yeah, we just hope that laborers through Kaleo and this project we're going through can really be raised up. And I think, I was even talking earlier, I feel like God really has used this project, Kaleo, in the past. Student Mobilization, the ministry we're part of, had just sent out so many missionaries, both stateside in the U.S. to different campuses as well as overseas, India, Philippines. So just, man, just that God would continue to work through Kaleo and really give people, like Brynn said, a vision to really reach the lost and even reach the nations as well. And then finally, have a couple guys, specifically Gunnar and Evan, who are thinking through Kaleo this weekend with their parents. So just a lot of prayers that their parents will just see favor in them this summer going, and then also they would just have that, that they would take that step of faith. And then I guess, yeah, and then to partner in giving. So for Brynn and I each, like living down in Gulf Shores, touristy destination where we'll be sharing on the beach with people and working jobs. Is kind of why we go to Gulf Shores. There's not a lot of places, I feel like, where you can just go and work like 8 or 9 weeks, part-time job. But it'll be $2,700 for each of us to go, so about $5,400 combined. So we're just asking to partner in giving. And then there's a QR code, and then or on the papers on the back, there's a QR code, or by check. If you want to partner in giving with us, it's just a check to Student Mobilization, and then the amount, and then we can fill out like from and who it's for, I guess. But yeah, I really just do think God honors just partnering and giving, even thinking about like Proverbs 3 or like 2 Corinthians 9, just that, man, God will provide, and he loves a cheerful giver. So yeah, that's kind of what we're asking for, a little rundown of Kaleo and kind of why we're going, what we're hoping to get out of it. But I guess, does anyone have any questions about like what we'll be doing specifically or anything, any of the logistics of Kaleo?
What dates are you going?
So I'll be going a little bit earlier. I'll be going a week earlier to get some like leadership training before the first timers go down. So I'll be going like May 18th, and then Brynn will be getting there like the 24th, I believe.
Do you guys know what kind of jobs you're going to be doing down there?
So Brynn gets to choose her jobs tonight.
Yeah.
So
They'll come out tonight at 9 p.m. Like everyone says, like you have to fill out super quick. They give you a list. They gave us a list a couple weeks ago. There's different like restaurants, like fast food stuff. There's grocery stores. There's souvenir shops, like clothing stores. Just like they give you a variety of options. But you will put down your top 3, and then within the next week or so, we'll probably know where we're gonna work.
yeah, and then like there's like different spots like Waffle House, Chick-fil-A, Culver's, like fast food. So a couple of and then if you're a second time person, you just get thrown into a job, you don't get to choose it. And so a couple of my buddies, they got told yesterday at one of the trainings we had in KC that they're gonna be working at McDonald's. So they're like looking forward to the nitty gritty grind of McDonald's this summer. But so yeah, that's kind of where the jobs will be at. And then I got assigned like just a place to eat as well, like at Gulf Shores there. Yeah.
How many of the people down there, rich kids, are really open to the Holy Spirit and to be witness to really
Yeah.
what they're saying?
Like on the beach, you mean on Saturdays or in general? I'd say like, man, I don't know what verse it is exactly, but that God has placed eternity in every man's heart. I think in Ecclesiastes 3 or maybe 11, but I feel like people do want to have spiritual conversations. They just don't know if they know they want to have them. So like it's like even like at like different parties and stuff, it's like, man, these guys do want to like talk about this stuff. And no. A lot of times guys will just walk up to me and ask me, but I feel like people do want to, and I feel like a testimony is really powerful because, man, like a lot of these guys down there, these college kids, especially if they're like in fraternities and stuff, it's like, man, I can kind of relate to those guys, and my life before Christ, I can really, man, like be like, dude, like I know how you're feeling in the story. I feel like a testimony is pretty like influential because those guys can see, man, like that's the way I'm living, stuff like that. So I feel like people are a lot more receptive than you'd think.
Like they're raised up Baptist.
Yep.
So they have their family.
Yes.
But they don't have
Yeah.
relationship.
Oh yeah, a lot of time that Gulf Shores kind of Bible Belt, southern region, a lot of people will have like heard the gospel, especially when we share like, oh, Jesus died for you. It's like, oh, we're in America. Like everybody kind of knows that. But when we really ask them like, man, where are you at with this? Do you want the 3 X's Brynn was talking about? It's like, man, do you want nothing to do with this? Do you know this stuff kind of a little bit and like believe in it? Or have you like kind of given over the wheel and like followed God? I feel like guys really have never really heard that. A lot of people have maybe heard the gospel, but never really been given an opportunity to respond to it. So I feel like guys really start thinking about stuff like that. So, but yeah. Any other questions?
How much does it cost for you guys?
It's between the two of us, it's $5,400, so $2,700 each. So yeah.
You referenced the bridge and the wheel. Those are both things that the navigators use. Is student mobilization connected with the navigators?
Yes. So one of the guys who like started the navigators and worked for them for a long time actually founded student mobilization, or one of the guys who was high up found it. So a lot of those like illustrations we were saying, like the bridge, so like how you share the gospel, or like the wheel is one that just helps people grow in their walk with God. Those are just like illustrations from another ministry that they've kind of got. But yeah.
When will you be returning?
We'll be back late July. I think I did this last year. We're just kind of we'll probably do a recap of kind of how God grew us and what he revealed to us in different areas. So yeah, looking forward to that. But it'll be late May to like late July, so about like 9 weeks.
So when you are on your jobs, are you encouraged to share where you're working? And then another part of that is, when you're working, do you have to use the money that you're earning at work to pay for your condo and pay for your meals? And do you have congregate meals together, or do you, how's that?
Yeah, good question. So the first part of that, like sharing with people we work with. So I feel like one thing that I really learned, a lot of time the second year people and the D group leaders, they kind of set the tone at these jobs. So like Brynn, for example, if she's working with her friend Macy, who's probably farther along in her faith, is going to be, she's going to be sharing her faith with these people who are working at Waffle House or somewhere like that. And I think that's an easy way, kind of like what I said earlier, more is caught than taught. So Macy can tell Brynn at K-State all year long, hey, share with these lost people who don't know God yet. But until Brynn sees Macy do this in a workforce setting, it's not as influential. But man, when like the first year people see the older kids like actually sharing their faith and like making decisions off of that, it's like, oh, this isn't something we just talk about. We actually like do it. Then I feel like it's helpful. So people are encouraged to share their faith, not with just people on the beach, but really with our coworkers as well. And then the second part, yeah, we do like kind of, if we don't get like funded, so to speak, Brynn and I will just use, we kind of like work, and with that money we'll pay for both the condo, and then all the food we'll have to pay for the summer as well, yeah, like the meals. But any other questions? I think I might even have stories on some of these. Okay, yeah, here we go. So they split up. We have 250 students. I think they send like 40 to each church around the area, so that's kind of cool. Nothing really crazy, but just, yeah, on Sundays we'll send a group of students, and we went to different churches in the area. I just kind of checked them out. Oh yeah, here's pretty cool. So the guy on the right, his name's Al, or the picture on the right, the guy that I'm with, his name's Alex. He's a freshman at Phi Delt. at K-State, and he actually started following God in October and really just been growing his faith a ton. So that's, I feel like, just friendships that I've been able to have, because I wouldn't have probably been too close with this guy, honestly, outside of just like my faith and being able to share with him and just seeing God work in his life, and his life actually changed because of result. It's just been super cool. And then picture on the left, so this was actually in November over Thanksgiving break for a couple of days before I came back home. Some of my buddies and I, who I met at Kaleo this last summer, and kind of the guys who are my fellowship, we took a trip to Zion National Park. And so that's us just reading our Bibles up there and kind of getting time with God. And it was so sick. There were all these cliffs and canyons and stuff. And it was really just a cool experience with those guys and dudes who I had no idea who they were kind of beforehand. And then, yeah, here's Kaleo, same guys. This kind of banquet at the end. This is kind of like my group of fellowship. Like I said, none of us live in the same spot on campus, so kind of cool. And then, yeah, just places we got to eat on, like, Friday nights. We have free nights, so at Kaleo, so a lot of time, like, during the week, we'll be working or having trainings at night or Bible studies, stuff like that. But then Fridays, we kind of get to go out and just kind of build time relationally as well, just kind of where we're saying that life on life. And then, yeah, here's some guys in Phi Delta who went to our winter conference. It's like 3 days. And so, yeah, just good group of guys. It's cool to see, like, man, God really does just want, I can't remember if it might be 2 Chronicles 16:9, but it's talking about how, like, God really wants to use, and he's looking for people to use, and he uses people whose hearts are all his. And so, man, it's like last year, I think, it's cool to see, like, in Tridel, Brynn's sorority, and then my fraternity as well. Like, a couple of years ago, like, not too many people were going to these conferences, and then, man, it just really takes, like, a guy or two or a girl or two to really be obedient to God, and God really does want to use it. I think a lot of time I used to tell myself lies of, like, oh, what will people think, or, like, will this guy, kind of like, will these people even listen to, like, what I'm saying? But, like, God really does want to use people. I feel like just been learning that over the last summer too. So that might be it, if there's no more questions. But yeah, thank you. Yes, you got one?
Do you know about how many people are going from Phi Delta and Tri Delta to K-State in general?
Okay, so yeah. So it's 200, 250 total. And then K-State, out of those colleges I mentioned, like Mizzou, KU, Nebraska, they probably have the largest right now movement. So out of the 2-something, we'll probably get about 90, probably 45 girls, 45 guys. And then with each of that, there'll be like 8 leaders, 8 guy leaders, 8 girl leaders. And then as far as Tri-Delt goes,
I think we have 5 or 6 going, but some like fill out the application or they're on the excuse me, they're on the line of like potentially going.
yeah. And then it's cool to see, like, even across campus, I feel like it's not in like a certain sorority or certain dorm. It's cool, like, there's people in all of the dorms we're at, and then like a lot of the Greek houses as well. They're all going, because it's really like a movement across K-State that God's been working through, which is cool, just to have people in all pockets on campus, because it really just is good for the movement as well, and just see God work in different areas. And then as far as my fraternity goes, there's 2 guys, like I was saying, Gunnar and Evan right now, that are really thinking about going. I think they'll most likely go. And then we had a couple guys 2 weeks ago decide they weren't going to go for the summer, and one's going to, I think, like, work at Kanakuk, which is a camp in Branson, and one's like, one dude in my fraternity is like living in Cabo all summer long. But that was kind of hard. He's not following God yet, so it's kind of hard for me to, like, challenge him to go to this. It's like, just not a step of faith I feel like he was almost like ready for. So definitely new. Some of these guys are just new to it, but it's cool. But yeah.
Do you see signs of revival on campus? And then the second question is, there's such pressure to do internships.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with that? Like, especially in business.
Yeah.
You need to be out there doing internships.
Yeah. Great question. I can speak on this if you want. So as far as the revival part goes, I'd say, like, yeah. Short answer, like, yeah, probably, as far as I can see. I feel like, yeah, there really is a lot of like darkness, obviously, in different spots on campus, and as far as just the U.S. goes as a whole. And I mean, when you think about like a pitch dark room, like you can see a little light. And I feel like lights really do shine brightest when it's really dark. I feel like it's something I've realized recently is like, man, even if the area or sphere that I'm hanging out with like is darker, it's like, man, that's just more opportunity to be a light. And I feel like God does really just want to work. And I feel like, especially recently, people just found unfulfillment. I feel like in the last, some of the staff guys say this, but like in the last 5 or 10 years, especially college kids have just found unfulfillment with like all the stuff that it offers and just have gotten worn out. It's like, man, where can I look to that truly satisfies me? And I feel like recently with like a revival, a lot more people are like, man, I'm gonna look to the giver of life to actually give me this life, opposed to just like stuff that'll like be here and gone tomorrow. And then what was your second question, sorry? Internships, oh yeah, this was a big one for me. So I had an offer for KC last year and then like a Boston one this year. So those were both kind of difficult for me to give up. But I feel like, yeah, just going back to the Bible and just not kind of being conformed by what the culture says, like you said, outside pressure, and just really realizing like, man, I can't serve 2 masters if I'm choosing, at least this is the way like I saw it for myself, particularly. But for me, I was thinking, man, if I choose, like I cannot serve God and money. And not something like an internship was bad for me, but just that I really wanted to prioritize my growth. And even thinking about like Matthew 6:33, like, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. It's like, man, sometimes I do worry, like, man, what like job am I gonna get, all this stuff if I don't have an internship? But I feel like clinging to that promise, it's like, man, if I pursue God, he will provide, and he says it, and he's done it before. So like just really taking that step of faith. Like I was talking about, I think it's huge for internships because internships are, especially like in business, like a lot of kids around me are getting them. So it is kind of difficult, but just trusting like God will just go through on his word. So.
And some people do go down there and they do internships.
Yeah.
One of the girls in my sorority who's going down for the second time this year, she actually got an internship down there. And you can also do it online too.
Yeah, you can. Like some people in construction science or like different business majors, or even people like are in nursing or going into dental, like they'll try to get a job down there. Like in Gulf Shores, it's just a little bit harder because a lot of those places are like touristy places. They're not like a hospital or something like that. But yeah, people do get internships. I'd say like 20% or 15% get internships down there. And then probably the majority just work the commonplace jobs. So yeah, good question. All right. What? Oh, so yeah, so basically like the bridge illustration we were talking about. So this is like just a drawing, simple elementary drawing we use to share the gospel with people. And so basically like there's one side of the bridge where like mankind, you know, for us rebelling against God and our sin, like we deserve like this judgment. And then there's one side, it's like, man, God and eternal life, and he offers us this gift. And there's 2 X's on this side of the bridge. So the far side is like, man, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't believe in this stuff. I just don't want nothing to do with it. The second X is closer to the bridge, but it's still on this side. And it's kind of on the edge, like peeking over. And that X is like, man, I believe in this stuff. I believe it's true. But I necessarily haven't like followed anything of this. I just kind of like know it as maybe like true, but haven't really committed my life to it or like, yeah, and then the last one's kind of someone who's taking that step of faith to really trust God as Savior and Lord. So I feel like in John, like talking about the fruits, you'll know a tree kind of by its fruits. I feel like when I was on the second X, I kind of believed in a lot of stuff. My life wasn't kind of demonstrating it, and you couldn't tell. So I feel like jumping in, like God really has been working through me, and you can see I feel like fruits by it. So long answer, but yeah, but it's with Romans 6:23, that verse. So I kind of rambled.
Kids, if they're not involved in your fraternity and stuff like that, can they seek out Kaleo?
Yes.
If they know about it.
Right. Yeah, like I was saying, it's all across campus. We just know obviously kind of where we're living, how it's impacting the people around us. But throughout the ministry, like there's multiple people like in the dorms. I feel like They have like 20, 30 people in the dorms going down this summer at K-State. So, and then different sororities, fraternities, off-campus housing even as well. So like everyone obviously can like go to this ministry, their meetings, their summer opportunities. We were just speaking from kind of like behalf of how we got involved and stuff like that. But yeah, open for anyone. And even like there was a guy from a different college who didn't go to any of those universities who still went to Kaleo from Florida. And so, yeah, but yeah, awesome, I guess. Thank you guys for listening. I feel like, yeah, just thank you. We, again, just appreciate your guys' time and just ask for, yeah, just the prayers and partnership and giving. So, yeah, hope to see you guys at the end of the summer. Maybe one more? Yes, Gunnar and Evan for the guys. So, yeah, thank you guys so much.